Okay. I feel like I'm a man of many hats. I'm a YouTuber, Twitch streamer. I do video essays, movie reviews. I make beats sometimes. I have a lot of ventures. I'm involved in a lot of things. I am many things. But the most important thing that I am is a scientist. You know what? I don't know if you know about this, but I'm something of a. Okay, we're here. I had some time to sit with my thoughts, and now I have them. And now I will give my thoughts to you. I am ready to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. But where do we start? This is a spoiler review, by the way. I was gonna do a spoiler review and a spoiler-free review, but I really don't know if I am at this point because I just want to talk about this movie. Like, I don't even want to do a review. I just want to talk about what I saw. But we're gonna do a review. I'm gonna give a star review. My usual spiel. I will start off by saying this. I love this movie. I love 95 to 98% of things about it. It has small little slip-ups here. Like maybe one or two in particular, but they're so small, I will almost consider them to be negligible. Like, I don't care. Because the point is, did I come to this movie? Did I enjoy it? Did I have fun? Yes, and then some. Because, you come to a Marvel movie thinking, oh, this is a cute little popcorn thing. Like a roller coaster ride. I'm going to sit down, laugh a little, get excited, and leave and say, oh, I'm going to have a fun time. But will I feel anything? And boy, did I. Do you know what I felt in this movie? Two things. I felt nostalgia, and I felt joy. Like an overabundance of joy. I felt happy watching this because I felt vindicated as a fan. Everything that I wanted was in this movie. Down from spoilers to everything. Charlie Cox was here. I got Charlie Cox is Daredevil. I got that in here, and I was so excited to see him. He didn't even do that much, but just seeing him here, I was so excited. I was so hyped to see Melina and sorry if I keep touching my face. I'm excited. I don't know what to do with my hands. What movie is that? Yes, that one. I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, I'm so fidgety right now because I'm coked up on Spider-Man fumes. It was. Let's slow it down. Let's talk about this act by act, right? Specifically, I want to talk about the first act and the third act. First act, I feel like you're gonna see a lot of reviews online saying that the first act might be slow, or it might be okay, but not like the other two. And I am in the middle with that. The first act is fine. It's nothing that's like, super duper de duper duper. It depends on where you account. There's a fight that Peter has with Doctor Strange. If you're watching this movie, you've seen the movie, right? There's a fight with Peter and Doctor Strange. Well, I can't exactly point if that's the first act or second act, but I'll say if it is the first act, then it's by far the most exciting thing in the first act. But it's not always about being excited by action and things floating on the screen. I'm excited to see how Peter will come to terms with his new situation in life, or if he even does, because at the end of the last Spider-Man movie, his secret identity was revealed by Jake Gyllenhaal, Mysterio, Quentin Beck actually. So the first act of this movie is Peter coming to terms with that. How everyone, all of New York, besides his usual group of misfits, they hate him now. He's hated now. There's like very few people who believe that he's still a good guy. So there's that. Then there's a whole, which is not even the thing that matters most to him. The first act, there's this thing of him, Zendaya, and Ned, played by Jacob Batalon, trying to get into MIT. And despite having the credentials for it, they couldn't get in because of their relationship with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So he goes to... So the first act of this movie is more or less how he deals with that. And it's fine. I enjoyed it. It's a good setup. It's a good setup, a good placement for things that are going to come later, right? So if you're coming to be wowed by the first act of the movie, no. Assuming that the Doctor Strange fight, if I remember in my brain, doesn't take place in the first act. Because if it... Well, I'm gonna say that it does. Just for a second review. There's 3 big fight scenes, right? For each act. And that's beautiful. Doctor Strange, he has this fight with Doctor Strange because, he failed. You've seen the trailer. They do the spell to make everybody forget that Tom Holland is Spider-Man, which is interesting in retrospect that he chose to do that. But of course, Tom Holland's like, stop the spell. I don't want them to know or them to know, or I want my friends to still know. So, he fucks that up. All of these guys from, the other multiverses, they come into his, and he has to fight and send them back. So that's that whole thing, right? So there's a fight with Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange says, I want to send them back now, although that would kill them, right? And Tom Holland Spider-Man, Peter Parker being who he is, he wants to fight to save them. That's what he wants to do. And it leads to this fight scene, which isn't quite dangerous for Peter and Doctor Strange. They're not going to kill each other. It's just a dispute among co-workers. But visually, it's beautiful. Only thing I can compare it to, let's say, consider this. Consider Inception. This scene when they're in the dream world and the buildings fold on top of each other. I'm assuming I'm going to have it right here behind me. Consider that, but on a scale times 10. But it's like in a kaleidoscope because they fight in the mirror dimension. It's beautiful. It's amazing to look at. I enjoyed that a lot just from like a grandiose aspect. I love watching that. It's great. However, this is all well and good, but you're here for the nostalgia bug, right? You're like, this is fine, but it's not what I'm here for. We're getting there. Peter fights Doc Ock. He sees the foe, but he doesn't really fight him in their first encounter. And it's so amazing. He runs into Electro, Sandman. He runs into everybody, and he succeeds in like holding them, not sending them back, but he holds them because I guess he has a plan to change them their fate. Like he wants to solve every one of their ailments and things like that, and to send them back home to a world where they won't be killed from the timeline that they're in. Like understand, Doc Ock's chip and Doc Ock too. Remember in the back of his neck? You figure if he fixes that, Doc Ock doesn't become evil and he doesn't get killed in his timeline. So that's what he sets out to do. And that's what happens. He fixes Doc Ock. He does. That's what he does, right? Whatever. He's working on all of the things. And then you realize this. He has Goblin with him because he wants to fix Goblin. But Goblin does the usual thing you expect a villain to do. I don't want to be fixed because I'm not broken. I can't do his voice. First we attack the heart, Osborn. I can't do his voice. So he goes, you can't fix me. I'm not broken. And they fight. Because he's a villain. He's Green Goblin. 2001-2 Green Goblin. The best Green Goblin, the best. And Willem Dafoe is a show stealer in this. Because he's not old, because he doesn't wear the mask. It's just Dafoe with the goblin suit from the neck down. So you get all of the crazy Dafoe expressions in the weird voice that he does, Osborn. You get all of that. And you're like, this is great. They had a very raw, gritty, tough fight scene that ultimately ends as I predicted when talking to my friend Torrance. I predicted this. The fight ends with spoilers, with Green Goblin killing Aunt May. Yeah. And she gives him, with great power comes... I don't know why I gave Marissa Tomei that voice. She's not Rosemary Harris. I love Rosemary Harris. Point being, he gets the speech, kills him, and you know, Pete breaks down. He's like, I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna kill him. And now, from this moment, this good movie, with the fun scenes, the banter between the villains and the heroes, between the heroes and each other, you know, standard Marvel movie with fun stuff. Fun Marvel movie for the first half. The moment Green Goblin says, I want to fuck some shit up, he proceeds to. They get into a fight when he's doing like Batista bombs and spine busters and shit, and they're fucking this building they're fighting in up. Happy's apartment. They're fighting. It's great to see. And the moment that happens and Marissa Tomei gets killed, in that old-fashioned way from the first movie, you know, when the glider comes in from the back and you know, she fucking does the, you know, she does the number 67 from Squid Game shit. The I'm really stabbed, but I'm okay. Don't worry. I'm dead. He does the Aunt May, don't be dead, Aunt May, or whatever the fuck he said. I don't know. Who cares? I care a lot, actually. This movie becomes like a deep, emotional thing where he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill Willem Dafoe. Like, not save him as he dies. I want to beat him to fucking death. I'm gonna tear him apart. I want to kill him. And I was like, hell yeah, Spider-Man. Although all of this shit is your fault. All of it. That's what I want to see. Let's bring some in this. And then she got sad. Because he's like, damn, I may die violently from being stabbed by a glider. Hey, that's a glider. She got fucked. Up, I mean to say. Don't restrict this video, please. Or do. I don't care. No one will see it. And that's when this movie goes from really good, from pretty good to good, you know, good. Ranging around being pretty good to this is dope. This is great shit. Because it happens. Let me turn my head around. It happens. They come. First, Andrew Garfield shows up. In my theater, despite not being full of Marvel fans, they lose their minds. They lose their shit. They're hyped. They're excited. They lose their mind. And then Tobey comes in. The room fucking explodes. Everyone is so happy to see these two goddamn people. And me personally, I didn't scream or yell. I didn't yell. I fucking shook my friend Torrance who was sitting next to me. I was on this side, so I shook this side, but I shook him. And we're like, oh my God. Like, people are tearing up. They can't contain themselves because it happened. Nostalgia. Vindication. The thing that you wanted the most fucking happened. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield shows up. And then the movie becomes a ball full of references and callbacks and banter. All the shit that you wanted to see between these people. They even do that conversation where it's like, hey, you have webs in your arms? That's gross. How did you do it? How is that? They ask each other by each other's villains and everything. You get this cool backstory with Andrew Garfield where he's like, I got kind of violent after I lost the people who were close to me. You're like, oh, this is that shit. This is why I paid money. This is why I'm here, baby. Let's go. Big fucking hype. I love it. I swear I do. I love it so much. And now we're in the third act, and the movie is just that. Just them. They go off to fight the villains. First they decide to console Peter to make sure he's okay. And you're like, oh, okay, this is good. Emotional. This is raw. But you're feeling that most of all. But you're still like, oh my God, that's Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield talking to each other as Spider-Man. And they're referencing shit like that. My back. Oh, rewind. Freeze frame. Willem Dafoe does the, I'm something of a scientist myself. He does that shit. Crowd erupts. Everybody's happy. It's damn near the biggest pop-off we had of the movie. Fast forward, back to this. Third act, big fight scene between everybody. And this is why I get to my negative. I love the fight scene. Everything about it. But there's no reason. I get why they're here, because technically the spell messes up, and it's supposed to bring in everybody that knows Peter and Spider-Man, right? They do that. They're like, this is how the spell brings them in, justifies bringing them in. But some of the characters don't do anything. Sandman doesn't do anything in this movie. Thomas Hayden Church, I don't even know if I can consider him in this movie, unless, God forbid, he's passed away or something, or just couldn't do it because of time constraints. Let me check really quick. Is Thomas Hayden Church okay? Maybe he just didn't want to do it or whatever. I have to look up and see. He's kind of like, he's in the sand form the whole time. He doesn't say too much. Like it's like, okay, whatever. I guess the main reason, right? Like, okay, it looks like he's still alive, but he looks very different from himself in goddamn 2007. But of course he does. He's supposed to. It's understandable. But it's like you're not bringing anything to this movie, but I get why you're here. Same thing with Lizard. Like, and even them being there, their reason for being villains is because, hey, I don't gotta take this. Makes no sense. If you look at Spider-Man 3, at the ending, Thomas Hayden Church is something of a good guy himself. No, they're not. Whatever. So it's like, okay, fine. I won't complain. I'm still happy to see you, and it's still dope seeing the effects and all that shit. Whatever. They even have a scene where they cure him of his sandmanness. He does that thing where he looks at his hand, turns back to his regular form. And you're like, that shit's not tricking me. That exact scene was in Spider-Man 3 in 2007. They just copy and pasted it. I don't mean they reshot it. They grabbed the scene from the old movie, cropped out the background, and put that shit in here. That's all they did. And you're like, oh, that shit is noticeable. But whatever. I won't complain. It's not enough to knock the movie down a rating. Especially a movie that's giving me everything that I could have wanted. It's a roller coaster of emotions. Sometimes I'm laughing. Not too much. I don't think this movie is super funny. It's telling jokes, but this is not a hilarious movie. No. It has the action, though, and it has the drama. That's what this movie has. It has the action, it has the drama, and it has the nostalgia. So, of course, Spider-Man, they team up. They save everybody. There's that scene everybody predicted with fucking Andrew Garfield saving Zendaya falling down. And he kicked ass in this movie. Acting-wise, as far as being the funny guy and being sad too, Loved it. Everybody's happy to see Tobey, but Andrew Garfield was really carrying his own as Peter in this movie, as the other Peter. But here's what things where it really hit me, the most emotional thing. The only way to save the day after sending everybody home is to use that spell again from the beginning. With the everyone forget they use Spider-Man. And you know what happens? That everybody forgets that Tom Holland is Spider-Man at the end of the movie, including Doctor Strange, including Ned, everybody. And then Aunt May's dead, so he has no one now. It's just him. And then once he finds his friends again to reintroduce himself, he finds that he can't do it. So it's once again, we just have Spider-Man on his lonesome, finally getting that tragic ending that I think Spider-Man should have already had, because Spider-Man is a tragic character. Which brings me to this. After skipping a lot of plot points, but more or less going through it and skipping some things, what do I rate this? You know, I'm something of a movie reviewer myself. It's kind of hard to say, because how much of this is my nostalgia talking? You know, how much of this is me rating it as a movie, right? Because I don't want to rate this off of nostalgia. Although that's gonna play a point. Fuck it, it has to. But I want to be fair in my thinking of it. And if I am being fair to this as a movie, I have to rate this movie at how much I, Amron Crowder even, The Seance, from the world-renowned YouTube channel, The Seance Does Gig. How do I rate this movie on a gold star scale of 1 to 5? Spider-Man No Way Home. It's 5 stars, baby. Of course it was. I love this shit. Every little small nitpick I had does not knock this movie down from being a 5-star movie to me. It's not about this movie being 5 stars or one of the best, if not the best, Spider-Man movie. Right? It's not what it's about. It's not what it's about. Let's calm down. It's not what it's about. But it's what it's about to me, baby. This is the best Spider-Man movie. It had the action. It had the drama. I smiled a little bit. I like the camaraderie and the banter between everybody. It has the emotional scenes. When people fight, they get fucked up. When people die, they get fucked up. This has everything you can want in a Spider-Man movie. It's playful, it's witty, but also dark and serious. And the most important thing, it has the tragedy. It has the tragedy. Sad shit happens. Multiple sad things happen. There's sad things. People have sad backstories. There's so many emotions to feel, especially in the second half of this movie. Second half of this movie kicks ass. First half is decent to good. Second half is why you spent your money. And not just the Tobey and Andrew shit. I thought this movie still would have been a good 4-star movie without it. But come on. Come on. Right? Come on. Come on. They did it. Great, too. I love seeing it. I couldn't keep my eyes off of the screen whenever they were talking. I couldn't. Also, I feel like they're alluding to some things that are going to happen further down in the MCU. That's another video that I'm going to do. I love this. This is why we see Marvel movies online. And I see a post floating around right about, oh look, another movie where the good guy beats the bad guy for the 1,000th time. Shut the fuck up. God damn, some of y'all so pretentious about movies sometimes. Movie really falls apart in the middle of the third act. Shut up. Watch the movie. If you came to this movie and you were going to give it 0 stars without Tobey and them, or you were going to give it 5 stars if he showed up, whether that's wrong or not, who cares? You got what you wanted and you enjoyed it. If you came here just for that, you got it. And it worked. It was serviceable too. Like, it worked. Nothing in this movie did, like, most things in this movie worked. And the things that didn't work are small, insignificant, tiny things. This movie's great. It's a great movie. Please don't Martin Scorsese and like just isn't cinema. You go to movies to feel things, right? When they killed Aunt May, and she was twitching and falling on the ground and she was dying, if you felt something there, then this movie succeeded in doing what it wanted to do. When you got hyped the moment Tobey came through the portal and you saw Tobey, and he was, he was talking about, oh my God. I don't want to get into this. This is a rant. I don't want to get into a rant. This is a good day. I saw a movie. I loved it. It was great. What else can I really say? Right? What else can be said? Spider-Man, baby. Spider-Man nobody's fucking home. Love it. Is it the best Spider-Man movie? Probably. Is it better than Spider-Verse? That's the question, right? This has to be your number 1 or 2. 3 at least. It's widely accepted that Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie. If someone has this as number 1, you can't fault them for that. Nonetheless, I know this isn't too... I didn't write anything or really put my notes down on paper. This is just me going off the cuff. I just got home from the movie. So I apologize if this is a bit messy. Nonetheless, like, comment, and subscribe. Let's really talk about this. Really. And remember, we're all scientists, or we're all something of a scientist, or never mind, forget it. Goodbye. I still don't know why y'all watch my videos. I really don't. All my videos are trash. Nonetheless, if you're one of the 5 people who make it this far into the video, thank you for watching. I love y'all. Keep supporting, unless you don't want to. Goodbye.